Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with Chapter 3, The Night Bus. The streetlights cast a cold, flickering orange glow onto the empty pavement. Harry is sitting on his heavy wooden trunk, his breathing shallow, shivering slightly in the crisp night air. The wind rustles through the manicured hedges. Silence hangs heavy over the suburbs. Harry is officially a fugitive. He has broken the decree for the reasonable restriction of underage sorcery, blown up his aunt, and walked out into the night. As the initial adrenaline fades, reality sets in. He has nowhere to go, no wizarding money on hand, and a deep fear that Ministry obliviators are already tracking him down. Harry senses something shifting in the dark. He stands up, his hand sliding into his pocket, gripping the handle of his wand. He turns slowly toward the narrow gap between a garage and a black fence. In the pitch-black space between the structures, a massive, shapeless silhouette takes form. Two enormous, glowing pale eyes stare directly out of the shadows at him. Harry stumbles backward, his heel catching on his trunk. He raises his wand in a panic, shouting "Lumos." The bright tip of his wand flares to life, but before the light can fully illuminate the creature, a deafening bang echoes through the street, shattering the silence. A massive, violent flash of crimson sparks explodes directly in front of Harry. He throws his arms up to shield his eyes. When the smoke clears, a towering, triple-decker, violently purple bus has materialized out of thin air, its massive tires screeching against the curb. Gold lettering across the windshield reads, "The Night Bus." The transition from supernatural horror to absolute wizarding absurdity is instantaneous. A conductor in a neat purple uniform with pimply skin and large, protruding ears steps down onto the pavement, reading from a pre-written scroll in a bored, monotonous drone. He is Shunpike, a 19-year-old conductor who treats emergency transport for stranded witches and wizards like a mundane city transit job. Harry, desperate to hide his identity from the Ministry, scrambled to his feet and introduces himself under a fake name, Neville Longbottom. Stan doesn't doubt him for a second, shouting at the driver, an ancient wizard with thick glasses named Ernie Prang, to load the trunk. Harry steps into the bus, expecting rows of standard transit seats. Instead, the book describes a surreal interior filled with half a dozen brass bedsteads complete with curtains and matching candle brackets, casting a warm, flickering light against the wood-paneled walls. Harry clings to the brass post of a bedstead as Ernie Prang hits the accelerator. The interior of the bus goes into a violent, motion-blurred frenzy. The candles flare wildly, and Harry's trunk slides dangerously across the floorboards as the bus takes off at a localized warp speed. The mechanics of the night bus are a masterclass in chaotic visual storytelling. The bus doesn't travel through streets sequentially, it literally bends space around itself to avoid collisions, operating on a completely separate set of physical laws from the Muggle world. The night bus barreling straight down a Muggle high street. To the Muggles, the bus is completely invisible. When a massive oncoming truck approaches, Ernie doesn't brake. Instead, the entire triple-decker structure violently squeezes together, turning as thin as a piece of cardboard to slide effortlessly between the truck and a stone wall, before popping back to its normal shape with a loud thump. Harry is repeatedly thrown onto the mattress as the bus makes massive, instantaneous jumps across Great Britain, landing in Wales, then a remote village in Scotland, accompanied by a succession of loud bangs that threaten to rattle his teeth loose. The interior settles into a rhythmic, bouncing hum as the bus cruises down a dark motorway. Stan Shunpike sits on the edge of Harry's bed, unfolding a crisp copy of the Daily Prophet. The front page features the large, moving photograph of the wild-eyed man Harry saw earlier in his room. This is the moment where the global stakes of the season are formally explained to Harry. Stan notices Harry staring at the paper and assumes he's completely out of the loop, eagerly launching into a dramatic retelling of wizarding history's greatest betrayal. Stan explains that Black wasn't just a low-level criminal, he was the most loyal, fanatical supporter of Lord Voldemort. When Voldemort fell, Black cornered a wizard named Peter Pettigrew and 12 innocent Muggles in a crowded street, blowing the entire block to pieces with a single curse. The blast was so violent it left nothing but a massive crater and Pettigrew's severed finger. Stan drops the ultimate piece of news: Black is the first person in history to ever break out of Azkaban, the fortress prison guarded by creatures so foul they make the hardened criminals lose their minds within days. Harry stares at the matted hair and the manic grin of the prisoner, feeling a cold weight settle into his stomach. The neon signs of London blur past. With a final, ear-splitting crack, The night bus screeches to a halt directly outside a tiny, dark, unassuming pub wedged between a bookstore and a record shop, the Leaky Cauldron. The doors fly open. Harry's flight is over, but his capture is immediate. As he steps off the bus onto the rain-slick pavement, a shadow steps out from the pub's entrance. It isn't a low-level ministry employee or a school official. It is the head of the magical government himself. Cornelius Fudge, the Minister for Magic, wearing his signature lime green bowler hat and a pinstriped cloak. Stan Shunpike gasps, realizing he has just transported a celebrity under a fake name. Fudge ignores the conductor entirely, clapping a firm, heavy hand onto Harry's shoulder. Fudge leads a terrified Harry into a private parlor inside the pub, where a warm fire is roaring and a tray of tea and crumpets has already been set out. Harry braces himself for expulsion, but Fudge simply chuckles, explaining that Aunt Marge has already been deflated and her memory modified. The ministry isn't angry, they are terrified. Fudge looks at Harry with an intense, paternal anxiety, ordering him to stay inside Diagon Alley for the remainder of the summer, completely unaware that Harry has realized the truth. The ministry isn't protecting him from school rules, they are trying to keep him alive. Space is bending, the night bus is breaking every law of physics, and Sirius Black's true history has finally been unveiled. Harry is safe inside the Leaky Cauldron for now, but the perimeter is tightening. What did you think of the incredible physics of the night bus transformation? Comment your thoughts down below. Hit that subscribe button, unlock the vault, and I will see you all next time as we explore the sunlit, magical streets of Chapter 4, The Leaky Cauldron.